We must do what we can do and fortify and save each other. We are not drowning in an apathetic self-contempt. We do feel ourselves sufficiently worthwhile to contend even with inexorable forces in order to change our fate and the fate of our children and the condition of the world. We know that a man is not a thing and is not to be placed at the mercy of things. We know that air and water belong to all mankind and not merely to industrialists. We know that a baby does not come into this world merely to be the instrument of someone else's profit. We know that democracy does not mean the coercion of all into a deadly and finally wicked mediocrity, but the liberty for all to aspire to what's best to him, what's best in him, or that has ever been. We know that we, the blacks, and not only we, the blacks, have been and are victims of a system whose only fuel is greed, whose only God is profit. We know that the fruits of this system have been ignorance, despair, and death. And we know that the system is doomed because the world can no longer afford it, if indeed it ever could. And we know that for the perpetuation of this system, we have all been mercilessly brutalized and have been told nothing but lies, lies about ourselves and our kinsmen and our past and about love, life and death, so that both soul and body have been bound to hell. Some of us, white and black, know how great a price has already been paid to bring into the existence a new consciousness, a new people, an unprecedented nation. If we know and do nothing, we are worse than the murderers hired in our name. If we know, then we must fight for your life as if it were our own, which it is, and render impassable with our bodies the corridor to the gas chamber, for if they take you in the morning, they will be coming for us that night. Therefore, peace. Brother James. The short answer to that would be Adrian Lester. When I was younger in secondary school, there was a BBC show called Hustle on TV. And I remember it starting, and I remember seeing a black lead character for what I would have thought in my short experience of watching TV at that time was the first time I'd seen it on a mainstream show, prime time. And I lost my mind a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I was addicted to that show, and not only it wasn't just a representation matters sort of thing. I think Adrian Lester is a magical actor. I've told him to his face, embarrassingly, but yeah, I just think he's magic, and it inspired me. I just think that art can't exist outside of society. So the structural things that are wrong with the world are present in the arts as an industry. And we can't forget that art is not, we can't deify art as something that's up there and spiritually unknowable. It's an instrument, and it's a really beautiful one. It's an instrument for empathy, education, it's an instrument for anything you can think of, but it's an instrument that is wielded by society. So to think of it as somehow separate and something that can change society, I think is something that I don't believe, but I think it's one of the things, if we get right, if we change our pocket of society whilst acknowledging it exists within, structural racism, sexism, transphobia, lots, capitalism. Once we, acknowledge that and try to fix these things, not fix these things, but at least aim towards mending these things in our industry, art can be better used as a tool to change the world. Acts of love to yourself and other people is just, it gives me all the hope and inspiration. It cuts through everything, in my opinion. And yeah, it's nice. I'm gonna live my life like that. I would try and expand your mind past individualizing a lot of things. I feel like that's the barrier to empathy, and I feel like that's what our world does at the moment. It really hyper focuses on the individual. People have been told to think about their needs before others in a way in which I don't believe. I think other people's needs are your needs.